story, ladies and gentlemen, is The Three Princesses. Now, the story starts long time ago in the Arabian Peninsula, where all the cities were built on the trade routes. In one of these cities was a king who had a daughter of marriageable age. 3 suitors from the nearby city-states came to woo the princess. The princess took one look at them and was perplexed. One of the princes was bossy, the other one unclean in his habits, and the third prince was vain. She cried to her father, "Father, please, don't let me marry any of these princes." Now the king, he loved his daughter, but he could not possibly insult these princes. They could wage war at him because they were from the neighboring cities. So he told them all, "Go back and come tomorrow. I'll make my decision then." The next day, he summoned the 3 princes and his daughter to his throne room. And he told them, "All of you 3 suitors are very well suited for my daughter. So, in order to make the correct, right decision about who to choose, I have decided that you must venture into the world for 1 year and 1 day. And you must come back and find one wondrous item. And the one who finds the most wondrous item will have my daughter's hand in marriage." The princess was happy to get the 1 year off. And so was the king, because he was able to postpone this inevitable decision. The 3 princes travelled, and after 1 week, they came to a well, which was separated into 3 different parts. The first, he said, "Ah yes, now we must separate." The second king said, "Yeah, I know that, I can see that as well," wiping his dirty hands of his cloak. The first prince continued, "Well, let's make a decision to meet 1 week before we go to court and see what each of us has found." The third prince said, "Oh, I hope all the young maidens don't slow me down by falling in love with me. After all, I am so handsome." So off they went. And after a year's time, 1 week before, they met at the well. The first prince asked, "What's wrong with you? Oh my God, you look horrible," to the second prince. Rubbing his nose, "Oh, I'm fine. So what wondrous item did you find?" The first prince takes out a crystal ball and says, as nonchalantly as he could, "Oh, just this simple crystal ball. It allows me to see everything and anything that is going on in this world." The other 2 princes were scared and a little bit worried. The first prince then turns to the second. "So what do you find?" He takes out from his cloak a flying carpet and says, "This flying carpet can get you to a place in a matter of seconds." The third prince then steps forward and says, "But nobody would like to sit on the carpet with you. You smell bad." Now it was the turn for the third prince to show what he had found. He took out an ointment and said, "This is a magical healing ointment. Anyone who is extremely sick uses this and can become completely healed. And they also say that if it is rubbed with true love, it can actually restore you." Said the second prince. "Talking about health, let's view from your crystal ball our fair princess." So all 3 huddled together, and the first prince rubs around his magic wand and tries to see what is going on. The haze disappears in the crystal ball, and what do they find? But the princess lying on the bed, completely still as death. And the king and the king's physicians are hovering over her. The king screaming, "Can't you do something? Please help my daughter." But the physician said, Sir, we're really sorry. We tried our best, but she only has a little time left. The three princes came to life and stood up immediately. The third prince said, "Alas, I have this ointment that can save her life, but we are just too far away." The second prince immediately took out his carpet and said, hop on, let's get there." In a matter of a flash, indeed, they did reach. They reached the room in instant minutes. Nobody noticed because everyone was too distorted to see their poor princess lying in bed about to die. So the third prince, without saying a word to anyone, stepped forward, took a bit of the ointment on his finger and rubbed it on the forehead of the princess. Princess blinked her eyes, woke up and said, "I feel fine." "Oh my God, it's a miracle," cried the prince and embraced his daughter. Then later on in the night, the three suitors arrived in front of the king. And the first one stepped up and said, "Sire, I know we all have such wondrous items, but if it was not for my crystal magic ball, we would have never found out that the princess was so ill. Therefore, I deserve her hand in marriage." Now, the second prince said, "Sire, yes, we had the knowledge that she was sick, but if it was not for my magic carpet, we wouldn't have been able to come to her aid so quickly. Therefore, I should deserve her hand in marriage." Then the third prince stood up and said, "Yes, we had the knowledge, we reached on her, but she would have died if it was not for my magic ointment. Therefore, I deserve her hand in marriage." The king was perplexed. He did not know what to do, so he simply told them all, "Come tomorrow and I'll make my decision then." In the night, he asked his vizier, "What should I do?" The vizier said, "Well, there is an old man from a very faraway land, and he is known for his sage advice. Why don't you let him make the decision? So none of the neighboring countries will be angry at us, they'll be angry at the faraway land." The king said, "Perfect, fantastic, summon him to the court next day." So the three princes arrived, and they told the story to this sage, old, crummy-looking man. The man heard their stories and said, "I know your wondrous gifts saved the life of the princess, but where I come from, we should take the opinion of the person who's about to get married. Why don't we ask the princess?" The princess was silent. Then she stood up and said, "I know you, princess, saved my life, but..." She looked at the man from the faraway land. "He is the only one who actually understood that I have a right to say what I want." Stepped forward towards the old man and said, "I want to marry him." The court went aghast. Everyone in the court was shocked. An old man? She wants to marry an old man? Women fainted. And then the princess quickly took a dab of the ointment and rubbed it on the back of the old man's hand. In a haze, the old man was covered, and just as suddenly, he was transformed into this tall, dark, youthful, chiseled-faced man, his strength and his youth restored. The king quickly told the princess, "Well, you still have your lands to care of, and you have these magical things." Those magical items did give them beautiful princesses. So, in the end, everyone lived happily ever after. And I hope so may you. And of course, it is also a little bit of hope for all the old people that one day they might get there.